More likely to figure it out this year, the Wolves or the Suns?
I'm going to say Minnesota because I do think their core is still based on the defensive end of the floor. And I think that's going to give you a better chance. It's a pretty large sample size with Julius Randle. Now, it's not like they've played 8-10 games. They've played, enough games. I do have some questions about how this is all going to work offensively, but I do think it's going to get better. I don't think it's going to get worse than it is now. I think it will improve. I think DiVincenzo was a key part of it. He's playing a lot better than he did at the start of the year. And I think your defense, if that's your culture and identity, and that's something that matters to you on a nightly basis, I think it gives you a better chance. I don't think Phoenix's identity is that, even though they've made changes to reward guys that think that way more. I don't know. There's something that, to me, they've had a large enough sample size over 2 seasons that I just don't know that this is going to work, even though I was very confident that Mike Budenholzer was going to turn things around in a big way for them. There's just something missing with that group. I have more faith that Minnesota would be a team that's going to be more likely that you're going to have to deal with them and reckon with them in the second half of the year than Phoenix.
The vibes seem worse in Phoenix. I think the upside is higher, but they just never seem to get close. I mean, there's no reason to think they're going to untap that upside. So I think I'd go Minnesota too, but to be honest, I'm selling both teams. I don't think I'm buying either. More likely to make the second round, Memphis or Houston? Both of them having great years. Maybe it's both, but I'm curious if you had to pick, who's more likely in your opinion at this moment?
I'm not going to sit on the fence, but I'm saying I think they're equally likely. I don't think you can really say. Obviously, a lot of that's going to depend on who you're playing. Well, yeah, a little bit, I guess, but no, because I don't think I'm sitting on the fence. I'm saying I could see both of them doing it. Like, it's not going to shock me. It's going to depend on who you're playing and how healthy your opponent is, because a lot of these teams are dealing with stuff. So I don't know who they're going to play. I think both of those teams are capable of playing into the second round. If you absolutely forced me to pick one or the other, I would probably say Memphis.
Okay. Why? Does Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson?
Yeah, Ja Morant factor a little bit. Yeah. They've got a little bit more collective experience with that, with playoffs and like those types of environments and games. But look, I don't want to sell Ime Udoka and Houston short. Like, they're clearly one of the toughest teams in the NBA. Yeah. And they play with a maturity level beyond their years offensively. So I think both of those teams have a great chance, particularly based on some of the issues that some of these supposed contenders are having, and some of the shortcomings and injuries they're dealing with, roster turnover. Wouldn't shock me either way if either one of those teams made it out.
Houston almost feels doomed at this point and I think they're a great team, but if there is a Dallas that's like a 7-8 seed or, maybe even a 6 seed, it feels like Houston is destined to make the playoffs, but get matched up with a team that probably should have been a 2 or 3 seed and is peaking at that point. So that could be tough. All right. Last one, most likely to win 70 games, Oklahoma City or Cleveland. They're both currently on pace for 70 wins, which is crazy. But who do you think is more likely to hit it?
Man, oh man. I'm going to say the Cavs. And I also want to know, I was thinking this morning, how many teams in history, we don't have the answer to this now, maybe we should look this up before our next show, because it'll be the day after the Cavs Thunder game. How many teams in history have had winning streaks of 15 and 10 before the All-Star game?
That's crazy.
Because they're 31-4, and we've had teams get off to incredible starts in the past. But these are really long winning streaks by NBA standards. Like, to win 10 games in a row in the NBA is very rare. You might get a team or two do it every year. I'm sure there's been years of nobody did it. They've already had 2 of those. And if they knock off Oklahoma City, I mean, who knows how long this one will go. I think Cleveland ultimately has more of a chance. I also think there's probably more, it's more likely than not that Cleveland has to play this thing out through the wire. Meaning,
with Boston chasing.
You're 5.5 up on Boston. Boston is going to have one of their significant runs too. They're going to win 8-10 games in a row. maybe close that
Might
gap
be
a little
starting
bit.
soon.
I think Oklahoma City, they finally get the full strength. They might have a 10-game
It's so
lead
true.
going into the last 3 weeks of the season. And then now you start really thinking about who's playing on a given night, and maybe you sacrifice some games late. I think Cleveland more likely to be pushed by somebody behind them than anybody that Oklahoma City is going to see.
That's not exactly a number you're chasing either. The 72 win thing that the Warriors did years back, breaking that record, that's big, right? Because you're in the record books forever. But just getting to 70 is not really a number. So I think you're right that being chased is really going to be the bellwether for this, and the Cavs have a chance. They're both so good, though. They're both win easy. They win hard, but they also win easy, and that's why they're up there.